Ladies and gentlemen, one of the key factors for the Blue Jays that won them the AL East for the first time in a decade was that they were a team-first group. Every player on the team put the team on their back over themselves, and everybody on the team contributed. But what if I told you that some of the most important key players on the team may not be available for the ALDS? This is what we're going to go over today. We're going to go over injury updates and whether or not they will return. And if they do not return, can the Blue Jays win the ALDS without them? If you're excited for this one, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. All right, so one of the players that is on the injury roster right now is Ty France. Ty France wasn't really supposed to be a big part of this. I kind of expected him to make the playoff roster as that backup bench piece, but he's on the injury list right now, so I don't even know if they'll add him because of that. But Ty France is not one of the key factors. The first guy we're going to be talking about, though, is none other than Jose Berrios, who before he got injured got moved to the bullpen, was pissed that he got moved to the bullpen, but did it anyway because he's a team-first player, proceeded to give up a 3-run home run to the Boston Red Sox, and then come out of the game, not because he was injured, but then after the game, we realized he was injured, and now he's on the 15-day IL, and the follow-up for Jose Berrios did show no structural damage, but he won't be a factor in the ALDS, and he is still not throwing. Possibly he is ready later in the playoffs. So if the Blue Jays make it past the ALDS, there is a chance for Jose Berrios to come back in the ALCS. When you think of Jose Berrios' spot, if he was going to be on the playoff roster, which he obviously would have been if he was healthy, I feel like he obviously would be in the bullpen. Top 3, Gausman, Yesavage, Bieber, not in that order. We got other pitchers like Eric Lauer and Max Scherzer that can hold it down. Me personally, there's some names that I would choose over Jose Berrios to come into the game as well out of the bullpen. Mason Fluharty's pretty clutch out of the bullpen. We got Yariel Rodriguez. We got Sir Anthony Dominguez, Louis Varland, all names that I would probably choose over Jose Berrios in a close game scenario. So sure, Jose Berrios would have been a big factor for this ALDS, but we have players that can fill his spot, so it won't be too big of a loss, you know what I'm saying? Next player we're going to talk about is none other than Chris Bassitt. Chris Bassitt is progressing well and should be available for the ALDS. But let's go off the fact that he's injured right now and possibly cannot play in the ALDS. Chris Bassitt is kind of similar to Jose Berrios. He's a starter, but it would be more of a game 4-5 starter if it even went that far. Chris Bassitt would probably pitch in a non-elimination game. If it is an elimination game, I do not expect Chris Bassitt to be touching the baseball. Let's say, for the sake of this video, he's injured and he's not going to play in the ALDS. Again, there's pitchers I would choose over him. I would put Eric Lauer in to start a game in an elimination game. I would put Shane Bieber in. And if you're going Gausman 1, Bieber 2, I have Trey Savage in an elimination game. Max Scherzer, I would not. Okay, those are the 2 players, Chris Bassitt and Max Scherzer. Do not put those guys in an elimination game because they will sell the game. It is like Jose Berrios. He might come out of the bullpen as well. He has some experience coming out of the bullpen. We have guys that can fill the spot for Chris Bassitt as well as Jose Berrios. And I feel like that's the beauty of Trey Savage coming up, because without Trey Savage, if he was not ready to come to the big leagues this year, we would be in such trouble because it would be Gausman, Bieber, Eric Lauer, Max Scherzer as your top 4. Like, that is not a good top 4, mainly because of Max Scherzer. If Max Scherzer decides to lock in, all of this that I'm saying about him, you can throw it away, okay? Past few starts, Max Scherzer has not been looking good. I've also been talking about Max Scherzer coming out of the bullpen, so that could leave Chris Bassitt open for a start, because Max Scherzer's first inning ERA has to be like above 10 or something, because in the first inning he sucks, but then after that he locks in. Chris Bassitt's probably going to be here for the ALDS, so you'll love to see it, but just in case he isn't, I think the Blue Jays would be fine considering the bullpen depth that they have, other starting pitchers, or the guys in the bullpen that can be starting pitchers to start a game. Maybe if it's not an elimination game, the Blue Jays go for a bullpen day, which I would not be mad at all. But now we go to the biggest name that is missing from this Blue Jays lineup, Bo Bichette, all right? If you don't remember, Bo Bichette got injured. I think he got injured in a game against the Yankees when it was raining out and Carlos Fabulous decided to send him home when he was rounding third. That did not end up working out well because 1, he got thrown out of the plate. 2, he ran into the catcher, probably like breaking his shin or something, and he's been out for like 3 weeks, missed the end of the regular season. Would have led the league in hits, by the way, if he was still healthy. The Blue Jays are monitoring Bo Bichette's process daily, and every day he's gotten better. He's doing everything to be ready as soon as possible. And to me, I kind of put it like this. Bo Bichette has been on this team for like 6 or 7 years. He's about to be in the biggest series of his entire life. He's had all this time off. He missed like the last 2 weeks of the regular season, plus this little week off the Blue Jays had. That's almost a month combined, okay? He has a month off, and he's slightly hurt, and he's considered day-to-day, and he's not going to play in the biggest series of his entire life. I mean, maybe the injury is more important than I think it actually is, but I feel like they're just being way too cautious with Bo Bichette, and I don't think they should do that. But the question we're here to talk about is, can the Blue Jays win without Bo Bichette? And the answer that not a lot of people want to hear is no, all right? Bo Bichette was the vocal point in this offense. And without Bo Bichette's bat in October, we got George Springer, we got Alejandro Kirk, and we got some role players, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? So Bo Bichette was a major part of this offense the entire season, and for him to be potentially missing the first couple games of the ALDS is not a good sign. Now, will he come back if they make it to the ALCS? Obviously, yes, he will. Can they make it to the ALCS without him? Is a different question, and the answer to that question is probably no. Maybe he misses the first couple games, then they have an off day, then he comes back for game 3. In my opinion, that would be best case scenario if he's not going to start this series. Without him in the lineup, it would be like George Springer, probably Addison Barger, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and then who's hitting cleanup? Who's driving in these runners? Anthony Santander can't hit the ball yet. Like Davis Schneider, Alejandro Kirk, like there's no one to drive in these runners even if they get on base. And Bo Bichette was the guy that did that for the majority of the season after the All-Star break when John Schneider decided to move into the 4th spot. It's pretty safe to say that Bo Bichette is a big missing factor for this Toronto Blue Jays team. Can they get it done without him? I don't think so. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this one, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Can the Blue Jays win the ALDS without these key players that were talked about in this video? If you enjoyed this one, make sure you like and subscribe. And with that being said, it's been me, your boy Brandon. I break down the Blue Jays, and I'll see you next time. Peace.